Yeah, thank you very much. I have a question because you
Yes,
talked
Kelly.
about martial arts, hi, about mind and body,
Mm,
just to connect with that.
mm,
I did some martial arts when I was younger. I did kickboxing and I did
mm.
capoeira just to
Good.
move my body because I felt like I'm stuck
Hmm.
right now in my life right now. So I was wondering if you're going to teach us more about self healing because I also believe that are you going to teach us, are you going to teach us more, tell us more about self healing without the movement part, without the yeah, but without just moving, doing yoga, because I've seen a lot of videos about yoga and seen a lot of videos about meditation. And for me personally, I feel like, okay, I'm calm, but then something in my body just don't feel satisfied about that, about the, how do you say, uh, yeah, yeah, conscious mind and subconscious. I feel like there's I need a healing, and I believe that the healing is not through exercise anymore. So so my question is, are you going to tell us more in your next lecture about finding the healing in yourself and knowing the signal in your body? Because I feel that something isn't right, and I feel like I'm looking for answers, and I don't want to go to the doctor and take a pill and stuff like that. So I hope that you understand what I'm saying with this.
Yes, Kelly, I fully understand what you're saying because myself, I've been there, I've seen it, I've done it myself. We're all traveling the same path. Okay, there's a lot of misinterpretation there. Okay, and all we feel is there's something missing. You just answer your own question. Something's missing. So that's why I spent 17 years going back reading all this, like classic. Like I said, you're a new member, so I don't mind talking to you for a few minutes. We have this kind of knowledge, which I'm specializing in, right? Yeah, we have three objectives. Okay, so when you talk about mind and body, so the mind have to work with the body, and the body have to work with the mind because it's yin and the yang. You cannot just have the mind and no body. Then you're ill, wouldn't it? That means you're sitting on you end up sitting on a wheelchair and your body don't move, your mind's moving. But then again, there's no circulation. Your body starts completely shrinking. And from my medical case study, I've had multiple sclerosis, MS, right? So the MS is more like because your body's shrinking. You don't move your body. You can't just not move your body. The misinterpretation, you close your eyes. I can heal myself. That's completely nonsense. That's why we have a lot of misinterpretation out there. And on the other hand, you just move your body without going through your mind. The
Yeah.
mind is the boss. The mind is the boss. You have to use the physical movement. That's why Dao Yin Su, the musculoskeletal, systems to stimulate, picked up the signal to the brain, because this is only secondary. This is the boss. So how can you just work with it movement without going through the boss? True. And that's why I just explained to Dr. Willis. Okay, yeah. And that's why this is subconsciousness, because the endocrine system, they are physical property now. They are not they are not metaphysics, because when you talk about, oh, just the mind, it's a metaphysical term. And there's a lot of misinterpretation. Imagine. Christ, imagine, you might as well go to sleep. That's why I said, go to sleep. Tomorrow you get out,
Yeah.
you'll feel better. Is it in that nonsense? So we have
Yeah,
a
it
lot
is.
of misinterpretation out there. So I've been doing this research, particular research, for 28 years, and I film everything of it. Go to our video library, right? You
Mm-hmm.
punch up, right? Qi. Now, also, I have to tell people that now I've started this year, start a main page called Qi, Energy, 8 Research. You punch up Qi, 8 Research, okay? And the
Yeah.
site will come up. And then there's a on Facebook, there's all the title, more. You see a title, more. You click it there, and you come out. They tell you more about what you get. A video. There will be a video library. You punch in video library. We have many years, right? Many years of all my teachings. So for new beginners, just go through it and slowly we'll get into it. Yes, of course, I teach you how to heal yourself, not just martial, but what I'm saying, it also come with it, right?
Yeah,
You all
I'm
come
very
with it.
interested in it, but
Thank
I
you.
believe that it should be in balance as well because it's not
Exactly.
only movement.
Exactly. So everything is the yin
That's
and yang
why
balance. Yeah.
yeah.
So thank you for the, are you happy with the answer?
A bit, yeah. I think I have to watch the video more because it's my personal and I'm open to it. I just now
Good.
in my life I feel really stuck and just finding a way to heal myself and not to give up. So yeah,
No,
I'm
no,
going
you're right.
to.
Body can do amazing things. Body put it there, body take it away. So that is the whole objective of our research. And like I
Yeah.
said, I'm a grade two research. I'm a grade two research fellows, right, on the national levels in Beijing University, and also I'm a visiting professor for many, many. Look at all my CV and you check it out. So
Okay. Thank you
we are
very
looking
much.
at university levels, not looking at primary school level. You close your eyes, you
No.
look away, and these are fine. There's no problem with that. Because
Yeah.
people,
Sure.
students, they'll say to me, "Hey, professor, that's really difficult." I know it's difficult. It's a medicine. It's a medical science. They don't expect to go in and sit there in the one weekend and oh, you're a healer now. Oh, you're a healer now.
No, it
Well, I
couldn't
keep on
be
saying
that
to
like
people
that.
that that's why you're on the right path. Don't let those people, those organizers, insulted your intelligence. You're more intelligent than that now, I'm sure. And you just close your eyes and relax, and then you can heal yourself. How?
Yeah.
Ask
Yeah.
them.
How? Yeah.
Ask
You should
them.
need it. Yeah.
Exactly.
I
So
will.
you stop. Good. Your body's telling you. So it's a
Yeah.
medical science. We have to study. There's so much in it. Okay.
Thank you very
So,
much.
patience. Thank you. Thank you for joining us.
Professor, Marco
Yes.
has one question.
I know Marco will ask questions. All right, Marco, great. It's a new year, so I don't mind because you guys are going to go to sleep now, isn't it? It's almost midnight now. Go on.
Yeah, yeah. So thank you, Professor, for this evening. I was
Anytime.
wondering if you. Hello, can you hear me?
Yep, yeah, go on, Karen.
Oh yeah. I was wondering. I'm still figuring out the six directions and the five essences part, because I I'm wondering like how to comprehend the idea of so you have the four directions, for northwest, east, south, and then you don't take the other two directions, but you replace them with the center.
Hmm.
And I was wondering, why not have then seven directions? So you have up and down and then the center. I understand what you say, that you go up and down in the center, but you also go back and forth and left and right, and that's also in the center.
There you go. You have answered your own question, haven't you? The five essence and the six direction came from different teachers, different era, different
So
dynasty.
it's so
So
it's two
they talk
systems.
about the same thing, just
Right.
the language differences. Like I said, with Chinese, we have 56. Like I said, with Chinese, we have 56 different type, of languages and culture. Now, I'm a Cantonese. If I speak Cantonese, the Northern Chinese Mandarin, they might not fully comprehend. Some of the Henan, Shandong, like Henan, like Shandong University. When I attend my classes, I have to pay money for a local guy to sit beside me and translate it from the professor talking up there because it's so heavy accents. That is the problem. Languages. So that's why these are different dynasties. Don't forget, thousand years. So from here, you're very correct. It took me quite a long time why is it the sixth direction? Right? And why is it that this teacher talking about five essences? It seems that doesn't click in. Long time before I found out that you're talking about the same thing. It's just different languages. Six direction, one pair of yin and yang, up and down, two pair, backward and forward, three pair. So six direction. But If you stand there, like I said again, if you stand there, like you sit there, you look down, it's only one point. That's why we call it a center. You don't see yourself moving up and down, can you? Like a lift, right? So that means a lot of this teacher would say, one center, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So that's why there's a lot of misinterpretation even in China. But when we put it into the movements, that's why when you move up, you up and down. That means your spine is stretching up, stretching down. Okay, so there's a lot of step work. You go up and down, and that's all more on the martial side. So you have already answered your question. So both of them, they are correct. It's just different teachers using different languages. Okay, yeah. But if you think about it a little bit more, you'll find that they're talking about the same thing. So Lao Tzu will talk about it. That means it's only a name. Don't argue about a name, right? So what is that name referring to? The Tao. So what is the objective of the Tao? So everybody have different objective, but at the end of the day, there's only one particular objective that you are talking about. And the objective we're talking about now, the Tao, right? The truth, right? Yeah, different names is what you're talking to me now. The direction. How come we got 5 and not 6? And then some people using the combination of the circle. There's another teacher who was talking about that. And on another teacher talking about the silk reading. They're like a silkworm twisting around up and down, right? Coming back down, left and right. So just different teachers using different things. But when you come to the Tao, this particular time, we talk about physical movements, right? So the movement cover from the left to my right. From the lower part, I'm going to the upper part, right? From backward and forward. So that's the Tao. So that particular Tao is what we're talking about. Make sense? It's just different.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah,
If you just think about that way,
that it's two the same systems but different. That completely makes sense. Thank you very much.
Yeah, not different system. It's just the same system, but different
explanation.
Exactly. Yeah. Different teacher using. That's like now. If you talk to you're Dutch, are you?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So if you talk to me to Dutch, I'll just scratch my head. Sorry, Marco, what are you talking about? See? So am I going to argue with you about the name? So it's only ignorant people start using the name to argue about it. Well, why? As long as the same objective, that now we're all talking about the same thing. Doesn't matter. Now, Dr. Willis, all the way down in Argentina, speaking Spanish. So are we going to argue that they're different names? True. So that's why the objective is self-healing, health promotion. As long as we hit the Tao, the truth, the objective of what we want, that is what we're talking about. Good? Okay. Yeah. So next time, take one step back and you see a bigger angle. You keep on like looking like this, right? You see that little bit. Take one back down. Put down your pride, coming back one step. Look, you can look further. Yeah, so that's the teaching of it. Have an open mind.
Anyone feel an urge to ask questions? Oh yeah, but Dr. Willis.
Dr. Willis, how are you?
Let me unmute you.
Hello, hello, Professor. Hello, Nancy. Thank you for the topic today. It's fascinating.
Thank you. Thank you.
I wanted you to ask, of course, the way you put about fight and no fighting and philosophy, it's amazing in so many ways. But I wanted to know what you think about also, besides the movements and the yin yang, if you think also the movements do something about autonomy, because I see in our medicine that people that doesn't move when they are young, then when they grow old, they depend on other people. So it's from a philosophical point of view and from health, movement, as you say, running water creates life. How can we, or how can you difference in any movements from those movements? Because it's not just moving around, it's moving with a purpose. So
yes.
What do you say about that?
Sorry, I lost the question.
if in the movements, it's not just any movements, you have to think about them and be focused and have the directions correctly done. So in this type of movements, it's not just stretching, because you can see people that maybe they do yoga or something else. I think it's wonderful anyway, but it's not just being elastic. It's not to have a ligament elastic enough, is to be strong in ligaments. So I think everything you are telling us and teaching us is not only to have health, but also to have a like autonomy, like a human being, not depend on others. And if you I've been practicing some other things because I dance, and I like health because I'm a doctor also. And I realized that when we practice this type of methodology, the body really feels different. Not just well-being, it feels different. You feel vitality, you feel happy. I don't know how to explain it, but it's different for the body. You feel like younger maybe. So
Okay. Yeah, I roughly understand your question, so I try to answer it. It's a big question. It's a big question. Yeah, so there's a lot of different questions coming out of it. First of all, you were saying about the movements, the exercises. Why is it other exercises? You know, like you just mentioned, I don't want to mention any style. All styles are good. You know what I mean? And I don't want to, you know, tread on anybody's toe. But like I said, I only specialize in the Chinese side. And we Chinese have this kind of internal training, and which I've explained already. So movements are just movement. So the internal wise, because they happen inside. Things happen inside, not only outside. So the mind is inside, isn't it? The brain is inside, isn't it? The brain, your thoughts. Okay, so that's why the Chinese call it internal. So that means is the mind and body. True, the mind is telling the body what to do. So, for example, you just make the move like you're doing all the stretching. Yeah, stretching, that's fine. It's English words. In the Chinese, 4,000 years ago, right, is Dao Yin, the Dao Yin. So it's a skill of Dao Yin Su. Dao Yin Su. Dao is manipulating, right? Yin is inducing. Su is the skill, Dao Yin Su. So from that point of view, the ancestors, through all the practical, few thousand years of practical experience, they're realizing that, right? So that means when we live in the conscious world, we cannot control that. That means we have to shift the consciousness, right? From beta to alpha, and then to theta, and gradually to delta. And that is the main thing that a lot of people don't understand that. And that took me 28 years, right? To organize bits and pieces from the ancient side, use modern science, medical science to decode the ancient Chinese science.
The other differences between the so-called Chinese internal exercise and external exercise is to induce, or Daoyin, the self-healing property of the human mind and body. Now you can go to the gym, but the gym workout, you cannot trick out the body's natural self-healing ability. Another major difference between the internal and external exercise is that all of those Xingqi Daoyin, very specific movements, have to be performed according to the three pairs of natural laws of two opposites, the yin and yang principles.
When the movement come up to, that's why we come back to the yin and yang, from the yin and yang, the Tai Chi, you saw the two fishes. So the Tai Chi give birth to Yi, right? That is the Tai Chi, the two fishes. Yi give birth, right? Creating the Xishang, right? When we Xishang, we call it a four phenomenon. Okay, why is it four? So when you see the the symbol of the Tai Chi, the two fishes, okay, they have a little tiny little dot, like a fish eyes, right? Each one of them, okay? That is where we call the Ji, the extreme. So from the Chinese side, because everything happened only when you reach the extreme, that means tipped over. Now, if you use some cosmology side, you can use it as the event horizon, the black hole. So the event horizon is on the rim. If you don't cross it, right, you're fine. But if you cross it, there's no return. So that means that's the G. So that event horizon, what the tiny little dot means, when it start coming bigger, 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 and then it disappear, and then the opposite come in from another tiny little dot. So that's the circulation. That's why this the third pair of yin and yang is called the yin yang Wenjun, Yam Yang Wenjun. There's circulation. That means that's the time you flip over. So that means when you do an exercise, right, you have to take it to the extreme. Okay, yeah. So that you can do the extreme in slow motion, very slow motion. Okay, or you can from the martial side, burst of energy. You can go out. So your mind follow this movement. What I'm going to do now, this movement, I'm punching. So when I punch it to the maximum, I give the maximum power. But from the medical side, so when we talk about that, I mean, when we train, we sensitize ourselves, looking for pain, looking for hot, sometimes really hot, heat, cold, and also sometimes numbness. And suddenly you say, oh, that part, I don't feel anything in that part, numbness. Right? And also we talk about swelling and something suddenly swelling up from the medical side, and then you probably create pain, right? So we have a sensations, right? Different 6 sensations, okay? In the Chinese medicine, Tao medicine. So for example, right, you feel itchy, right? Itch. That's a sensation. That means the part, right? Because of the dermis and epidermis is blocked. All the pores are blocked. So circulation is clogged up there. And then the neurological, all the fibers of the message, it didn't send to the brain, and the brain give you out. That's a sensitivity of itchy. And usually itchy is the first form of pain, isn't it? True? Because you itch, you're like this, you scratch it. And when you scratch it, you feel really good. Oh, you feel good. And then after it, only when you see the blood is ouch, is hurt. True. So that's why we from Tao medicine, we study that. That means when you itchy, when you start, that's a stimulation, you start manipulating it. So that's why Tao Yin. So when manipulating it, you feel good. Why does it feel good? Because that itchy is a form of a pain signal. Tell the brain, and the brain reacts, and the brain released the endorphin, the natural body morphine, painkiller. So that's why you feel good. You feel good because morphine is there. So these are all the sense that the body from the inside telling you what happened to the outside. The chi come out from, and usually, so if, for example, if you have problem over here, like, stiff shoulders, frozen shoulders, so sometimes frozen shoulders, okay, but you feel pain. If you feel the pain point here, that means the lung, the meridian come here, right? And you feel the pain point here, frozen shoulder, that's the large intestine. So that's how we connecting, making diagnosis through that. So through the movement. So when I exercise it, when I exercise all the movement, I'm trying to sensitize myself. Okay, so when I do it slowly, that's the time I try to sensitize myself. Stretching, if you want to use the word stretching, that's fine. I'm trying to Dao Yin myself. So I'm manipulating and I'm moving like this. And I say, oh, there's a pain there. Hey, there's numbness there. Hey, it's really hot there, right? Yeah, it's like a little worm going through it, very itchy, itchy there. So I try to sensitize myself. The body will tell me, because that is the natural body diagnosis, right? As a medical profession, that's why I'm sure you agree. Today, people, they don't even know anything about diagnosis. They just put out the hand. Blah, 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 blah. That's very dangerous. That means if you induce the wrong hormone, the wrong medicine, people die. And that's why over 1,000 years, people die and then it's recorded all over the world. So that's why it's very important that we have to put this curriculum back in the university. Everybody can do it. Everybody can do it. But the thing is, do you know what you're doing? You don't even know what you're doing, and you do it to yourself. And then next minute you put out your hand and say, hey, I'm healing you, I'm healing you. And you induce Dao Yin. People induce the wrong medicine, just like you're going into a pharmacy shop and go in there and popping pills. I don't think anybody would just popping pill like this. Crazy, isn't it? You're dead. So the pharmacy is here, inside our body. They're over, in the Chinese side, over 5,000 years, there were registration, almost 100 different Naidan. Now today, the hormones, now science tell us, I think it's almost like 67 now, it's 65 or 67 identified different hormones now. So you have to understand which few of them regulate that particular organs. And you work on that area, open the, the glands, and then hopefully we get the right, correct internal natural body medicine. And that is why they call internal, because you don't see it and we don't take external medication. But obviously that'll take a long time. So that's spontaneous reaction, spontaneous qigong. Like I said, like a pyramid. Underneath is all thousands of millions of different style, different methodology. But when your body going up, going up, going up, going up, reach the top, that is the only one. The tip is spontaneous. Your body start spasm, experience yourself, you know what I mean? And that is the time. Why? It's very simple. There's subconsciousness movement. That's why consciousness, you have to drip into subconsciousness. Why so important? Because we're talking about Dantian in the ancient term, upper Dantian, middle Dantian, lower Dantian. It's the area of where the medicine are stored. Not one silly thing like, oh, Dantian is my belly button 3 inches, 1 inch and this and that. And that's a point. That is not a 10. 10 is a surface, an area. So if you can open the glands, we call Hiu Moon, Hoi Hiu Choi Dan, right? So it's the glands. Now we know it's a gland. So that means the objective is the glands open up, the natural body medicine will be released to regulate itself. That's why it's self-healing. True. But the endocrine system we talk about, are we not? And the endocrine system now, is controlled by our subconsciousness, not from our consciousness, ancient Chinese science. So therefore, Dao Yin Su is you have to go to the maximum and then flip, the yin and yang will flip. And that's a stimulation. You create your own stimulation to trigger, the pain. The pain is a signal to trigger the opening up of the glands. And that particular pain signal, the endorphin come, pituitary glands. So that is why the differences between this type of internal exercise, then it just exercises. Mixed. You happy with the answer?
Oh, yes, of course. Of course, we can see that these movements you're talking about, the methodology is much profound, and it's like the sum of a lot of things. It's integrating a lot of things, not just a movement just because. So thank you so much.
My pleasure, my pleasure. No, it's not my knowledge, it's 5,000 years. I'm only a student, right? I'm only research fellows, okay, yeah? So it's difficult. That's why when I do just my PhD alone, it took me 7 years. Don't forget, I got another 2 years before the master's, We do my master's, and then to go into this the Taoism side. So altogether 9 years, and from my practical side, all my life. So I got to spend a long time, lifetimes just to try to put the pieces together. And finally, now I'm happy. I know exactly what happened now, because I was like everybody, because we're interested in this thing, self-healing and all this kind of movement. But unfortunately, we got a big problem in China, I'm telling you. A lot of the Sifu, our teacher, a lot of them are illiterate. Taoism is a very, very sophisticated 5,000 years of knowledge, China, for the last few hundred years, from the Qing dynasty, 400 or 500 years ago, very, very corrupt. And that's why the Chinese, the our country. Well, but that's how we call dynasty, isn't it? Or king, emperor, empress, king and queen. And we had loads of experience, thousands of years of this kind of system. It doesn't work. And that's why now we change the system. It seems to help 1.4 billion population now, because it's community, social. So we have to work each other. Yeah. So again, this become politics now, and I try not to speak a lot of politics in this open forum, because at the end of the day, I don't want trouble. I'm only a teacher of medical. Okay. Yeah. Very good.
I'll try.
Good. Okay.
Thank you, Professor.
Okay. Good.
Thank
Right.
you. Thank you for asking questions, and thank you, Professor, for answering
Right.
the questions.
Thank you. So I think we better let the controller. So the neuropsy is almost midnight now. So
Yeah.
yes, thank you for coming. I'm Dr. Waike Leung. So next week is medical side. So I try to get. I'm still working. I'll pull out something out. Don't worry. Bye. Thank you very much.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye,
Bye,
Doctor.
everyone.
Dr. Werso. Bye bye. Bye bye. Oh, Dr. Young as well. Oh, good.
Yes.
Hello, Dr. Young. Good. All right, I say bye-bye.
Bye, Professor.
gone.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you.